We are live. Welcome, everybody, to
Nice.
tonight's episode of 117th Gaming Squadron Podcast. I have a special guest tonight. His name is Brian, and he is from Canada, and he's a fellow video game enthusiast and video game soundtrack. I don't know what should I say. Like,
Listener tour.
there we go. I didn't want to say like obsessed video game soundtrack, but you also enjoy the music that comes out of these soundtracks that we'll get
Oh,
into.
music's very important to a video game. So
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to this conversation.
And we also, he's been kind enough to join me in my beer review. So I went out and got uh, from Dreckers. I don't know if you've heard of Dreckers or get them out there. Uh,
No,
so it's from Fargo, North Dakota. Do you guys get any like U.S. craft beer up there at all?
very little, and usually it's from New York and the Vermont area because that's directly south to us.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I can see that. Even though we're like right along the border of Canada, we don't really see much like, unless we go up north to like Duluth and everything. So
It's kind of a weird relationship. Funny part is we actually have easier trading of alcohol with the United States, than we do across our own provinces. Like, it is actually illegal for me to go to the province right beside us and buy a certain amount of booze to bring back or beer to bring back. It's actually people have been pulled over and ticketed.
really,
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing that happened like way back in the colonial days. Just we're trying to fight it now, but it's not going well.
that no, I did not know that. I mean, I do know that you can be 18 to drink, while here in the U.S. you have to be 21, which is, silly, but it is what it is. All right, so yeah, mine's called Muscle for Rank. It is an India Pale Ale. I mean, I got like I don't know if you can see it's got like a little bit of a. They always have these interesting characters drawn on them, like kind of like a
Yeah, craft
demonic.
beer is weird that way. Like I got the same thing on the one I have. It's just this weird design.
Makes it stand out. Like, oh, I'm gonna buy that thing. That thing's got cool art. I don't know if I brought a glass, but anyway, do you want go ahead and introduce what you got?
All right, I got a what's called a Wonder Crush Hazy IPA from Bose Brewery, just outside of Ottawa, Ontario, in Vankleigh Hill. Uh,
Oh,
it's got
okay.
robots,
Oh,
like you
nice.
said, weird designs. It's very clean design on this one, for which is funny because it's about to be a hazy IPA. I also brought a glass up because only monsters drink their craft beer out of the can.
The
Uh, let's see.
whole etiquette of beer drinking and everything, like
Oh yeah, I don't know. It just unless I'm in like a campsite or something like that, I gotta have myself a nice glass.
it also helps
Thanks.
with the airing of it helps with the aroma of the hops and everything kind of come out. So you're
Oh
also
yeah.
like releasing it, not just being a. I don't know. Maybe it's the
Like,
same thing as wine, where you're trying to breathe the wine out or something.
well, I know something about this brewery is just by where it's located is a lot of farmland, so I guarantee they have their own hops farm.
Ooh, that would
And a
be
lot
even
of
better.
breweries around here do that. They build in the countryside and they have a big farm for all their different types of hops they grow.
Oh, fun! I'm all
Let's see.
about homegrown hops. Yeah, it's you probably have. I wonder if you have some hops that we don't have down here. I think okay. So the hops in this one are Mosaic, Cryo, Mosaic Galaxy, and El Dorado.
Yeah, this one doesn't actually describe the hops itself. It's a New England IPA, crisp, hazy, and citrusy, and it's unfiltered. I can see the little chunks. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but
Yeah, I can.
yeah, there's little chunks floating up and down. It's
So,
I always love that. It's like a meal in a can.
well, that's I mean, filter beer is
Oh yeah,
fine, but if you're like if you filter it, you're taking out some of the yeast, which adds to the flavor. And you may not get the actual true beer that the brewmaster made. So fun little.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, it depends what you like as a beer as well. I'm not somebody who sits there and yells at a guy who's drinking Coors Light just because I don't drink it, right? How'd that sip go? It looks pretty good.
It was good. Yeah. No. I can smell the citrus in here, almost like oranges kind of thing. I don't know if yours has a strong citrus smell, but that.
Mine does, but it's more along the lines of a almost a lemony type citrus, but that's kind of cross balanced with the hops.
Okay. Yeah. The initial taste of it, the bitterness is not as strong as like West Coast IPAs. Um, it even though they say it's an IPA, it seems like it's more of a little bit more like hazy New England kind, a little bit juicy. So, which is fine with me.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Well, that's what this is. This has an IBU of around 18 to 25. It's not a very strong beer. It's like not a very bitter beer. But I found the website. They describe it as it pours a light gold with a cloud of creamy head that lingers atop a bright hazy body. The citrus and tropical notes from the hops take center stage, delivering a refreshing burst of lime and mango. So it was lime I was smelling. Restrained bitterness and velvety texture allow notes of stone fruits and citrus to shine through each sip. And it's very true. This is actually a very sweet beer almost,
Mm-hmm.
but it's definitely something. It's a sipping beer for sure. It's not something you want to party with.
What's it? What does it weigh in at? Because I think mine's at.
Oh, mine's 5%.
Oh, okay. I think mine's at. God, yeah. Hate to have all
But
my room.
do you guys do you still do alcohol by weight or do you do alcohol by volume?
It's by volume. So
Okay,
ours.
yeah.
So mine's at 7% ABV and everything.
Yeah, mine's 5% ABV. 7% is going to taste like a milkshake almost. Usually, then those tend to be pretty thick.
What's I guess before we move on to like beer, we'll ask one more question about beer. Like, is there a go-to beer? Like, go to bar,
Blue Moon,
restaurant. Which one?
Blue Moon.
Blue Moon. Just the
It is a
basic Belgian wheat.
citrusy. Yeah, it's a Belgian wheat ale. You put an orange slice into it,
Mm-hmm.
adds to the flavor of the beer. I have a bar I go to all the time. It's my go-to drinking beer for when I'm watching sports and stuff like that, and I'm not in the mood to try something new.
Sure.
Um, Thick enough that like got enough flavor that it doesn't taste like those generic breweries like your Coors, Molson's, or all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's common enough that you can always find it. So I
It is
like that
good.
one. We used to call it Belgian Moon here for the longest time, and it used to confuse people. I went through the States on my way to somewhere, and I went to a bar. And I walked in and asked for a Belgian Moon, and they were confused. Like I was talking Greek.
Say that again. Blue Moon. They're like, oh, that. You're like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's like, hey, can I get a Belgian Moon? It's like there's only one beer on their taps that actually has the name Moon in it, and they're like, I don't know what that is. It's like, oh, sorry, but we smartened up. We changed it.
Just give you the list of what you got. I'll show you.
Yeah, pretty much. It's that one right there. The logo's the same. The words are a little bit different.
How's the first few tastes of yours?
Not bad. It's one thing I like about this beer right now is it doesn't leave a lot of aftertaste. So the beer hits you. You get the citrusy hoppy flavor. You drink it. It sits with you for about, I don't know, 5 to 10 seconds, and then it just kind of floats away, and you're ready for the next sip.
Right. Yeah. There are some beers I've had that are at like 9%, and like within the first sip, you could taste the alcohol. You're like, oh, this one's strong.
Oh,
But thankfully, the
have
aftertaste
you
of it.
ever had? Sorry, have you ever had a 10% ABV beer?
I've had close to one. I think the highest I've had is like a 9.5.
Yeah, I've tried one strong beer, 10%, and I'll never do it again. beer drinking isn't about tasting the booze. It's about enjoying the flavors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
At least to me.
it's there's one beer that I've tried. It's called Hop Slam from Bell's Brewing, and it comes out
Hmm.
like usually around March time frame. And yeah, that's like a 9.5% double IPA with like honey in it, and just like one is enough to kind of get the party going, and then you kind of just have to just move on to like a lighter beer that's like maybe 6 or 5% just to kind of keep it going. Because if you go two a row, three in a row, you're gonna be so drunk. And just can imagine if you had like an empty stomach, just be like, "Yep, one beer in, you're already gone."
Yeah. No, I get it. I'm just when I was young, I drank beer to get drunk. Nowadays, I drink beer to enjoy it.
Yep, same here.
All right. How was
So
yours? How was your beer? How did it sit with you?
it's been a few first sips have been good. Yeah, actually, I've enjoyed it. I've had Dricker's beer before. This is one I've not tried. They usually been coming out with new beers like constantly. It's kind of unreal how many they pop out, but it's good. I would definitely, if I was at a bar and they had this on tap, I probably would get it on tap just to be like, yeah, this is good stuff.
That's nice. Oh, that's awesome. I like places that have rotating taps with local beers.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's always nice to try something different. I mean, we have I have a brewery near my house. It's about 2 miles away, and they do a good job of coming out with new beers once in a while and everything. So,
Yeah. We have a couple in town, and then there's one brewery I go to. It's about an hour and a half away. It's worth the drive, and they have this very light beer, but it's made with strawberries, and you
sounds
drink
good.
it with ice in the glass, and it's called not Lagavulin, that's whiskey, Lunenburg, and it's a really really good beer. It's just like this refreshing thing you can drink on a hot summer's day, and it's like it's 4.3% alcohol, so you don't get drunk off it.
Hmm.
It's just awesome.
Is it like a slushy kind of thing,
No,
or?
no, it's just beer with ice.
Oh, really? Okay. Have you ever had or heard of a shandy?
I have not. No.
It's beer lemonade. So it's kind of like
Oh,
lemonade and beer mixed together.
sounds interesting. Something worth trying.
It's yeah, we there's a brewery here from Leinenkugels. They have a summer shandy. It's kind of like it's a lemonade beer. Definitely a summer beer, I'd say. Um, Worth sitting out on the dock or on a boat or just outside after having a mowing the lawn kind of thing. Having a summer shandy. It's light, refreshing. It's got good flavor to it. Just
No
and
beer hits better than after yard work.
mm-hmm. Okay, so we could probably talk more about beer once we've had one or two into us at the end. Get the conversation
Yeah,
a little bit more
yeah,
lively. But I like to well, I guess Brian, I'm curious what are you currently playing or what are you working on right now?
well, as we discussed between ourselves, I'm one third of the host of Retrotopia podcast, and I we've been playing a lot of games for that. We got a couple of games coming up, like Professor Layton. The other two fellows are going to do Fire Emblem next week, and then we have Mortal Kombat coming up. So I've been dipping my toe into those ones. I've been jumping on Nintendo Switch Online to see what on there is kind of worthwhile to play, and I started Crystalis, a very old NES RPG, and so far I'm liking it. But the main game I'm playing right now would be Xenoblade Chronicles, and I'm doing that at the request of a friend of mine who wanted me to play the game so that we could chat about it on a podcast. So it's those are the games I've currently got going on. Xenoblades is a pretty big undertaking, so there's nothing really big that I'm doing as a side game. I guess if anything, the casual game would be Blueprints, which came out on PlayStation Plus. It's a little RNG roguelike where you build a house to try to find a secret room.
Oh, really? Okay. I've not heard about that. Is it like it must be
Really good game.
is it indie? It's probably an indie game,
Oh
right?
yeah, it's an indie game, and it's been talked about a lot. It's just one of those indie games that came out like swinging, and it's a good time waster. Like you can do a run in 20, 30 minutes, and then if you don't feel like doing another run, no harm, no foul. It's fun. It has so many puzzles within puzzles. Like you'll walk into one of the rooms and it'll have a puzzle inside of that room, or you have to do stuff in multiple rooms to unlock a puzzle. It's so in depth. It's amazing that it was made by a small team.
Wow. Um, I'm curious if you probably heard of Expedition 33, right? That
Oh yeah, I dabbled in that one a little bit, but like I said, there's just too much going on. I had to drop a big game, and that was the one that got dropped.
it's amazing how a studio one I've never heard of. Two, it's a small studio. I think it's only maybe like 30 people, I believe.
I think it's
That
33 to be honest.
oh, is it? Yeah, that's where the 33 comes from. Expedition 33.
Well, it's a 33 is a big part of the game, but I believe the 33 was because of how many people they had in the studio, and they're all former Ubisoft France developers who just kind of got sick of the politics and developed their own studio, proving that you know developers make games, business people ruin studios.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, it's just amazing how that game just came out and just started just kicking ass and just like beating AAA games and just like, see, we're an independent studio and look what we can do. We can make a game that's like so amazing. Which, um, I know the soundtrack has actually gotten like really well reviewed. I have not played the full game completely, but I dabbled in it for like the first 2 hours. I got into it, but I got sidetracked with something else. But yeah, it's just been doing
Yeah,
very well.
everything about that game has been just blowing people's minds, and the soundtrack. I've played about an hour into the game. This music is just fantastic in that game. For the little bit I've heard,
Mm-hmm.
my wife played a lot more of it, and she loves the music in that game.
Yeah, definitely. The French definitely added their culture into it, which is nice.
Yeah,
I think it was a really good touch.
it's amazing. Like kudos to those guys for what they did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess I know I asked you earlier about video games. And you said you had a nice story to tell about what got you into video games. What was the was it a specific game, console, friend, family?
Yeah, I got like a tragic backstory, I guess. Not so tragic that anybody dies in it, but just kind of the life of a nerd. Um, when I was a kid, we had a babysitter, and the babysitter had an Atari 5200. And yes, I'm dating myself of how old I am. And we would play that on a black and white TV all the time. And I don't know, that's kind of where it all started, I guess. But I was also my dad was in the military, so we moved around every 3 months or 3 years or so. And every time we moved, we go to a new place. It was beginning of summer. I didn't know anybody. Video games kind of got me through that period where I didn't know people to when school started, and it just kind of became one of those things where they became such a big part of my life that I just kind of always stuck with video games, even though people called me like a nerd and a loser because back in the 90s, playing video games was considered doing kid stuff. And
Yep.
I don't know, but yeah, that's about it. There's no specific game that hooked me on video games. It's just always been a big part of my life because there are moments in my life where I wasn't hanging around outside because just there was nobody to hang outside with. It was just I was new to the place. I didn't know anybody, and then when school started, by that point I was already addicted to video games.
Hey, it's
Maybe
well different than mine, but still, thank you for sharing. Um, I mean, I
well, I've
ended
shared it before. Yeah,
like you said, it's not it's sad in a way of how you said how you're alone all the time and you use video games as to, but at the same time, it's like I kind of relate to that too. Um, so Nintendo Entertainment System was my first console. So I mean, I was old enough to actually get that for Christmas. Uh, like Zelda was one of the big games I enjoyed for that game. But yeah, I too was could come home from school and play video games and everything, and so kind of my outlet as well and everything. So it wasn't until the PlayStation, the original PlayStation, where actually that's the console I bought with my own money, and kind of going forward was where video games were kind of I had to buy on my own. My parents barely bought games for me growing up, so I had like maybe one or two games that I would just consistently play, just back and forth. So
That's how it was back in the day, and nowadays it's just we have so many games to play. It's hard to decide which one to go next.
it is, yeah. And I've gotten a few games that were given to me because they're like cheap. They're like, "Oh, here's a new Nintendo game," and it's just garbage. But I played it anyway because it was just something to
Yeah.
do, and I just wanted to play a game. But it was just like garbage. But yeah, and then now
Oh yeah,
as an adult, it's like I got money, and you can see my background. Like, kind of
yeah.
spend
You
some
you
money
got a
on
pretty
games.
big collection up there. Like you can't really see it over on my side here, but it's where all my current video games are. On the bottom row is all PS1, PS2, PS3, Xbox, Wii, Wii and Switch, and all that kind of stuff up there. Not as big of a collection as I used to have. I kind of had to sell some of it because, well, I needed money because I had a new kid and no money. So made the sacrifice, sold my Nintendo collection for pennies on the dollar, which would have been worth thousands today. It just no regrets. No regrets.
Oh yeah, it did what was needed. So I mean,
Yeah. I it's just kind of sad. I would have loved to keep those. Like I had Chrono Trigger in box. That game goes for
wow,
so much money nowadays.
yeah. I think I've seen. Well, I think the game itself is. I've seen it maybe for like $60 to $100 just for the game itself, and then if you want everything else, it can get up to like $400 or $500 or more. It's just like,
You can't really see it, but I don't know if you see my little wand moving around.
oh yeah, there it is.
That right there is a Japanese copy of Chrono Trigger in box, gifted to me by a friend. I was so overwhelmed. Just obviously Chrono Trigger being my favorite game. I talk about it so much. I've been told to shut up on my Discord, but yeah.
Hmm.
The only thing I'm missing for Chrono Trigger right now is the original SNES version.
Did the Japanese one? I, I mean, do you get a chance to play it, or you just kind of have it on display? Like I own the
Oh,
copy.
it's just on display. I don't have any means to play it, and honestly, like it's not going to change the game if I play the Japanese version versus the North American one. Just I won't be able to read it.
Yeah, unless you have your hold up your phone, like okay, translating. What does it say, kind of thing. But
Funny story. I've played the game enough. I don't need to actually read the text anymore.
you know what to do. Like, yep, here we go.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. It's
fun.
just a shut up. You're talking too much. Let's go into the next fight.
I okay, so for our next section, I did kind of write up a few questions, but we don't have to go through because I mean we kind
Oh
of
well.
had an idea of what games we want to talk about. But like when you and I were discussing about like video game soundtracks, you said like what game had great music, two what would like made emotions or enhance the game, and like three did it I'm trying to think like after enhancements like did they make the game better in terms of like
Well, let me ask you a question. Is just one that was kind of been floating around my mind all day. Um, I've been looking up some like list of good video game soundtracks, just to kind of jog my memory. What song comes to your mind when you hear video game music?
um like a specific game.
Just you hear video game music, somebody says like name a video game song, and from any era. And for me, I could tell you right now, it's Super Mario Brothers would be the first song that popped in my head.
Yes. Yep. I can see the iconic the I can see the original Legend of Zelda being iconic, but
Yes, exactly.
um right now for me it'd definitely be Halo.
Yes,
The
that's
Halo
actually
theme.
one. Um, I'm not a big fan of the game of Halo, like the Halo franchise. It never stuck with me, but god damn that Halo song, the Gregorian choir there singing the oh
Mhm.
whatever. Oh, so good.
Yeah. I don't know if you can tell I like Halo, you know, my
Oh
big fan.
yeah, I can see it. It very prominent. You like big, strong chiefs.
Yep. Master Chief right there.
No, yeah, it just I've always loved a good soundtrack in my life, and going back to like the old days of Nintendo, there's specific companies there that you always knew were going to produce great music, and like Capcom, Nintendo,
Mhm.
Konami used to, SquareSoft. Uh, Enix didn't actually have the greatest of music, but they've improved since they've obviously joined with Square. But yeah, it's just with that, like taking Super Mario Brothers again, starting the game, and you get that did it did did it did. It just starts out like that, and you're immediately drawn into the game because of it.
I think that's one of
And I
those
have
music's like even gamers, no non-gamers, people out there would know. I know what that is. That's Mario.
oddly enough, they did a survey not too long ago, and kids nowadays recognize Mario more than they recognize Mickey Mouse.
I can see that.
Yeah, it's we've grown up with music our entire lives, but funny part about it, back then, music wasn't actually a huge part of video game development. Like games are just made by people who had ideas, and
hmm
they would pump out video games. It's not like the business model it is today, where you need to turn a profit on your $5 billion development cycle. So people who did put in the time and effort into soundtracks, these are people who personally enjoyed the uh, the idea of making music, and you got people who became some of the greats of the industry because of this.
hmm Well, like you said, pre PlayStation days, like the Genesis, Super Nintendo, all that. Like, I know the Super Nintendo had a much better sound system and everything with that whole. I don't know if you're familiar with the Sony and Nintendo thing, but
Yeah. Oh
uh,
yeah, yeah.
but like Final Fantasy 3, just the
That
music in that
opera
one.
scene, how they had made an entire opera without a word,
hmm
blew my mind. Like you could sing along with the text that was on the screen just by the way the volume track or the soundtrack of the person singing changed pitch.
Right. Yeah,
I mind blowing.
and just the iconic intro that like do 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 do,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and then the victory song like
Which slightly changes with every game.
mm-hmm. But it's always there. And then I don't know if you ever got a chance to watch the movie Advent Children, but they have it as one of the phone
Yeah.
ringtones. Everybody's like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, I know what that is. And everybody's like, oh,
That was done so perfectly because they just got into a fight with Tifa there, and then the fight ended, and that was the ringtone that played. It was just
yeah,
mwah,
victory,
chef's kiss.
victory. Yeah, I do. When you were asking when your podcast about the junior JRPGs, and you're saying like Square and everything, like, is it Moogle or Mog? Is that what you're asking? Do you say is it?
Moogle or Moggle.
Yeah, Moogle
Yeah.
or Moggle. I say Moogle.
Yeah. I always said Moggle, but it's also like Final Fantasy 4 2 on the Super Nintendo. I never called him Cecil. I called him Cecil for so like that's how I grew up calling him, and it's Cecil if you read the name properly.
Okay.
And it doesn't hit my ear right just because for like decades I've been calling him Cecil.
Well, I've noticed the difference with like, is it Aerith or Eris when Final Fantasy VII came out? I apparently
Yeah,
noticed.
yeah. It was Eris when it came out in the North American version, and
Mm-hmm.
then everybody's just like, "That's wrong. It's Aerith," and then they've fixed that since.
Yeah, they had to kind of, you know,
Listen to the population for once.
yeah, and basically hit it, drive it home with the remake. Like, now we can talk, so this is how you pronounce your name. People listen and whatnot.
Yeah. Look at other like Super Nintendo's really famous for its sound chip, and you listen to some of the tracks on that. You mentioned Final Fantasy 3, Final Fantasy 2 as well has a lot of great music in it. Um, but you notice a trend that it's the same people again. It's Mega Man X soundtrack. I consider one of the best on the system. That's Capcom. You got Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2. They have really great soundtracks. That's Nintendo. Uh, Chrono Trigger, I consider having one of the best soundtracks to date. Uh, just it's like always the same companies that are making these great soundtracks, and always the same people. Like a fun story about Chrono Trigger is Yasunori Mitsuda was the person who composed Chrono Trigger, and he did it with a deal with SquareSoft that he would produce the soundtrack, and they would give him a job as a music producer, like maker of music for future games.
Mm-hmm.
He put so much effort into that, he actually had to quit because he was hospitalized with stomach problems from the amount of stress that he put himself under. And Nobuo Uematsu, the guy famous for Final Fantasy games, finished off the soundtrack.
I did not know that. That wow.
Yeah. Um, I don't know if you've ever played Sea of Stars or The Messenger.
Uh
The
I've no, I've seen them, but I've not played them. And I heard I've yeah, I know what you're talking about. Which those games I have yet to play them.
yeah, the guy who made them, Eric Brown,
Mm-hmm.
he made the music for both those games. First one, it was under Rainbow something. I can't remember exactly what it is. It's funny because you hear these chiptune audio tracks that this guy composed really, really well. And also, Sea of Stars had what's his name? Yasunori Masuda again join in, and you could hear his classic style. But if you actually knew about Eric Brown, he's actually the drummer for a metal band called Necrogoblikon, which is a completely different style to the video game soundtracks.
What
I just found that
like
one interesting.
death metal? But then you're over here playing this kind of music. It's like I know, right? It's like, dude,
Yeah, when
talk
the
about
makeup comes off, it's
yeah,
chip tunes.
yeah. We're talking about range. My God, complete
Yeah.
180.
Um, but talking about like the importance of music in a video game, it's bigger nowadays than it has ever been. Like if you go back to the, you know, Super Nintendo days, you can tell that the music was designed for the game, but did it really add anything to it? Like look at something like Shadow of the Colossus. The music sets the tone of the world
Mm-hmm.
and the story itself. Portal doesn't have a lot of music in the game, and then it ends with that fun song "Still Alive," which became a hit for a while. Red Dead Redemption soundtrack, the Elder Scrolls soundtrack, Minecraft, BioShock, all these games, the soundtrack adds to the immersion of the world itself.
It
And
does,
it's
yeah.
so important nowadays that they get the soundtrack right.
But when you also think about the fact, like some of these games are taking place in a certain period, like you said, Red Dead Redemption. It's almost they created music that would be pretty much in that period of time. So
Yeah, and
you're living it and everything.
yeah, and BioShock is like 1930s to 50s or whatever,
Right.
and they have everything period pieced to that era. Like music has not evolved beyond like the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
So everything you run into sounds like music that belongs in the appropriate era. Uh, Another great example of that is Cuphead. The whole game is hand drawn, and to be like a 1930s cartoon, and the music is just perfectly encapsulating that era of cartoons to make this game come alive.
I totally agree. I'm trying to think of other games
Well,
like
another example I can think of is Celeste. It's another indie game, and the whole thing's about climbing a mountain. It's about the self discovery of was it Madeline? I think her name is. I remember. And as you climb the mountain, the music really plays this part in creating this emptiness
mm-hmm.
in the world that you're in. And as you get closer to things that reveal more of the story, the music changes to set the mood of how you should really feel about where you're at. It's really, again, another really well done indie game.
I mean I'm from my experience with video games, I think the turning point was probably when the PlayStation came around. We finally got be able to get CD audio. I think that's
Yes.
when a lot of video games started really kind of putting more, I'd say, effort or work into the soundtrack and everything. The fact that like we can have CD audio quality music, and it almost seems like they're finally now actually like orchestras, bands, like they're finally really kind of putting in more than just that kind of like that 8-bit, 16-bit digitalized music kind of thing. It's and so I from
Yeah.
there going forward, and I think that's why a lot of those games are so iconic is because like Metal Gear Solid is one of them for me. Um,
Yes, absolutely. Metal Gear Solid has a great soundtrack.
I think
And again, the way it uses sound isn't to have music in the background all the time.
No, it's there have been plenty of games where the music has actually uh like I'm gonna use Final Fantasy for example, where it's like you go into battle and suddenly the music changes. Like, oh my god, now I'm in a boss fight. Like I didn't realize this is gonna be a boss fight, based just strictly based on the music and
Yeah,
everything.
Final
So,
Fantasy VII is a great example of that when the guitar comes out
mm-hmm.
and you get the multi-camera angle change and it's like da 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 da.
Yep, and you're like, all right, well, I guess I'm in a boss fight, and
Yeah, it's like time to go hard.
mm-hmm. And then I mean there are some fun soundtracks like when I know when I asked you if we can do like licensed music, like Crazy Taxi comes to mind.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, a fun video I watched not too long ago. You know, Games Done Quick,
Yeah.
the annual thing that
Mm-hmm.
people do speed runs. Well, Crazy Taxi was excluded from it because you couldn't turn off the soundtrack of the game, and you can't stream those songs without royalties. So a guy made a deal with Games Done Quick, and you can find this video online where he got a cover band to play the songs from the game while he put headphones on and actually played the game and did speed runs on it.
Oh, really?
So yeah, in the background you actually have a cover band playing the songs, and it's just fun to watch. It's a great soundtrack. Grand Theft Auto games with the radio soundtracks,
Mm-hmm.
like everybody listens. Like I've had discussions with people about what station do you listen to while you're driving in Grand Theft Auto.
Right.
It's more so than like what station do you listen to in real life.
That was actually kind of fun where you actually had the ability to change radio stations and listen to what you want as you're driving around. You're like, this actually has the option of that. Like you didn't think that was something possible back then, but it was. And
Yeah, well, that's part of the CD thing you're talking about. They could actually put tracks on, and I know some PlayStation games, you can actually put it into a CD player and you can play the tracks like you just bought the game album.
yeah,
I
I
think,
heard about that too.
yeah,
Um,
Castlevania Symphony of the Night, I think, is one of them. We just covered that not too long ago, and I think I looked up and that was one of the games.
I wonder if Pa Rapper the Rapper is one of them too.
That would be interesting. That game has slapping music.
Yeah. Uh, I will admit, Busted Groove on the original PlayStation is a lot of fun. Are you familiar with that
Uh,
game?
no, I have not played that one.
It's a dancing really game, but you don't use a mat, you use the controller and goes by the beat, but came out I think like 97, 98, around the time where dance music was the huge crave going around the
Oh
90s.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
it was a dance game. It's a lot of fun cuz um as you're doing you and another player computer compete dancing between each other to a song, and then as you get better the music kind of speeds up and everything, so you kind of have to hit like up square left right like before it gets to the end and stuff like that. But it was a lot of fun at the time. And there's this one where the character was like Shorty in the Easy Mouse. She had a little mouse in her pouch right here, like in her coveralls. If you do so well, the mouse will actually jump out and dance with you. So it's like
Nice.
you get so well to the point where it's like, yeah, I can even get the mouse to dance with me. But that's another game that, I mean, it is a dance game. Of course, the music's gonna be good, but it's just yeah, it makes the game
But
so much fun.
you also have to have the right tracks. Like the game had to make sure the tempo was right and everything synced up. Have
Yep,
you played Hi-Fi Rush?
I did. Yeah.
The music in that game, because everything is synced to the beat of that game. That's why all the graphics are pumping at a certain beats
Mm-hmm.
per minute. Uh, there's been a couple of games like that, and there was I can't never can I remember the name of the game, but it was a first person shooter where you're timing it to like heavy metal tracks, and
I know it's a first. I know you're talking about.
yeah, I can never remember the name of the game when I talk about it. But games like that, like not only do you have to design music for the game or you have to get tracks that fit the game, you also have the added challenge of making sure all the tracks have the proper rhythm because it's very important. Like if the rhythm changes in the game, the way the game plays changes. I always found those ones interesting, and Hi-Fi Rush did it really well, especially like its RPG-ish type gameplay.
That was actually so much fun. How it just came out of nowhere and just like, wow.
Yeah, no slap in the face from Microsoft when they shut the studio down, though, or Bethesda. Well, I guess that was still Microsoft.
Uh, Metal Hellsinger. That's the name of the game.
Yeah, that's the name of the game.
That I tried it. It was a little difficult for me to keep the rhythm and shooting going. I don't know if it's just my reflexes or
I
what,
I,
but I kind of had a hard time trying to figure it out. So
I have bad timing. I have no musical talent. That's why I like listening to other people's music.
it would have been nice if they had the option in that game where it's like you can turn off the beats and just play the game with the music going. Because I would have wanted to play the game to you know do the story, but if I can't get through an area because I have to do a certain beat section to get moving, I'm like, well, damn it all, like this sucks. Like I'm gonna quit and go do something else. Thing. So
Yeah, exactly. I played it for about a good 20 minutes before it kicked my ass, and I just said, it's not designed for me.
and then they come up with a VR version of it, so it's like, oh great, just
Oh,
just
it's like, oh man, I can't stand VR. Like, not that I hate it. It's just I can't stand it because it gives me vertigo.
mm-hmm.
Except for unless it's like a game like Beat Saber where my feet are planted. Oh, if I have to move around, screw that. I'm done. Can't listen to music when you're throwing up.
Skyrim did give me motion sickness. I tried that one.
Yeah, I tried. I can't remember the name of the game. Blade and Sword, or Blade and
Oh,
Sorcery, or something like that.
I think I know what you
Yeah,
mean.
and I took one step forward. I went ass over tea kettle because my body wanted to move because it perceived I was moving, and then just like, no, I'm done. Like, I just can't. But my kid, goddamn, he does backflips in that stupid thing, and he not even a shred of motion sickness.
Like
He
show
walks he
off.
walks yeah, he walks around the house with the goddamn headset on, looking through the cameras to see where he's going. It's just like, come on. This kid's gonna be a perfect Apple glasses candidate.
You know, you could take him off, just to see what's going on here. He's like, no, I'm fine. I can see. It's like, really?
Yeah, pretty much. I can see you through the cameras. Okay. Well, I can see you through the Wi-Fi being turned off.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Dang it.
Oh man. Oh yeah. Oh, here's another one for you. How much better does a song get in the soundtrack of a game when you've been playing for a long time and all of a sudden the song has words added to it and it just hits a little bit differently?
Um,
Like Kingdom Hearts at the very beginning, Simple and Clean is the name of the track that
right.
plays at the beginning.
Yep.
And then right after this high energy dance track finishes, you're floated down into this kind of tutorial level and it has this like choir singing ominous music, and it's just such a great way to open a game because you got the energy and now you're in this level of wonder and discovery.
Mm-hmm.
What's another game that has a
I'm thinking, did Sonic Adventure do that?
yeah, Sonic Adventure 2 had a couple of tracks with some like lyrics to them, and
The yeah, because like Sonic Generations, they almost like remixed the tracks again from the game. So they I don't know if they went back to the bands and had them re-record, but they basically took the songs again and kind of remixed it for those levels, which I think enhanced the what is it? The first one's um like Escape the City. I know in Sonic Adventure 2, the first level where you follow the helicopter and everything, that one was really well. And then I know at the very end of Sonic Adventure 1, where you're fighting Chaos, they have that Open Your Heart. I think they play it while you're fighting him. And I think it's both the just the music, and then I think they add the vocals later. That's what's coming to mind for me.
yeah, Kingdom Hearts I know is the one I brought up. Persona games, Persona 5, I say it specifically as the example, have a lot of lyrics in their music as you're playing the game. Um, trying to think. Final Fantasy. I know the Pixel Remaster 6 has added the lyrics to the opera scene, which I find is a crime against humanity. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I believe, has lyrics into some of the end boss fights, but don't quote me on that one. Maybe was it Rebirth or Remake does? But
Uh, now I'm trying to blank. I think it's Rebake,
possibly yeah.
but
But
yeah.
the greater point is that adding lyrics to it, I don't know, just it's the same thing with watching anime. When the lyrics are put into the song, it takes the focus off of the main character and puts it kind of into this music as you watch the action unfold, or you I guess in video games you take part in the action.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a whole different way to add a different atmosphere to a video game.
I
And
have.
I'm not counting end credits with lyrics because the game's over and you're just kind of sitting back crying because you still want more.
I would. Yeah. I'm trying to think of any. Like, I'm sure if I'm really into a game and some of the song kicks up, like, Call of Duty Zombies and Black Ops. There's an Easter egg in Kino der Toten. I don't know if you're familiar with it, where
I am
uh,
not.
they play if you find the 4 meteorites in the level, it plays like a heavy metal song, and it just enhances to the level, just like just heavy metal woman screaming, just going hard. And I think to me, it just enhances the gameplay of like f you zombies, you're gonna effing die kind of thing. So
Yeah, yeah.
and stuff like
Have you
that.
ever played Squirrel with a Gun?
I have not, but I've seen it. That looks funny.
It I played that game to conclusion and it has a banger of a soundtrack. Starts out with this like secret agent music, all lyriced up and everything. Starts out that way and you're a squirrel that gets into a secret lab and you find a gun, and therefore that is the entire point of the game from there on. Is you're now a squirrel with a gun. And whenever you get into a boss fight, it does this heavy metal music, and the tone of the game shifts from calm to this just intense battle. And it's just amazing how much you tense up when the music changes to something a lot faster and a lot more hardcore.
Mm-hmm. There, I do want to play the game. When I saw it, I thought it was hilarious. Like,
Oh, you got to. It's so much fun.
just
It's a short game too.
just the fact that it's like you're a squirrel and you run around with a gun, and he shoots the ground to like shoot up, flip forward, and it's just like just looks obnoxious and everything. But there
The
were,
plot of the game is absolutely ridiculous, so it's everything you want.
I just yeah, I would totally that'd be one of those games just to probably want to drink as I play it, just because it'll make it so much more fun. Just be like,
Oh
yep,
yeah.
I'm drunk. I'm playing as a squirrel with a gun, and check this out.
When your title is Squirrel with a Gun and you are a squirrel with a gun, they've met their commitment and everything else is just gravy.
Speaking of that, I'm gonna grab myself another beer because I already finished mine. So
All right, then I'll vamp for your audience unless you're going to cut this out.
it'll be 1 second.
Yeah. Ra-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta.
No, I'm spoiled. I have a beer fridge in my game room too. So
Yeah, I got to run downstairs, but I can save a few seconds if I trip and fall.
So you're saying you just kind of like roll down the thing and oh, there's the fridge. Let's go.
Yeah, I bought one of those Xbox fridges when they first came out. Big mistake because they don't actually keep anything. Sorry, they don't cool anything. The only thing they do is keep what's already cold for a little bit longer. But that used to be my office fridge, and yeah, it now sits in a closet gathering dust.
I I bought both of them. I bought the little one, and then they actually came out with like a dorm size fridge of it. I don't know if you've seen those ones.
No,
Yeah.
just the one with the fan in the top.
Yep, that's the one I got. I got over here just sitting there in the corner, kind of like on display. I'm like, yep, anything video game related, take my money kind of thing. Shut up and take my money.
Yeah. Oh man, no, I was so disappointed because the idea, like, you could fit eight tall boys into that bad boy, and like I said, it'll keep them cold, but you have to have them like already refrigerated when you put them in there. But I wish I could just like grab a 6 pack and throw it in the fridge and cool it down and have it like sitting right over to my side here.
Mm-hmm.
Just can't really see it, but I got a nice little table
Oh yeah, I can see
or
the
a
table. Yeah,
shelf. Yeah, and it has plenty of room. It currently houses all my portable consoles. But
got got the Switch, the what is it, the Steam Deck, and
no, I don't have a Steam Deck. My wife does. I have an Asus Ally, which actually sits underneath my computer monitor. I have the PlayStation Portal,
mm-hmm.
3DS, and a bunch of controller chargers right now on there.
Nice.
My Switch is right over. Where's my little wand? It's hard
Top
to do
screen right now.
backwards. There it is. Switch, Wii, GameCube.
Mm-hmm.
The Xbox shelf has a 360, an Xbox Series S and X because I have an extra Series S. And then the other side is my PlayStation shelf with a PS3 original and then a PS5,
Very cool.
which oddly enough encompasses the entire PlayStation library.
Yeah, for 4 and 5, basically.
Yeah, well, the PS3 plays 1, 2, and 3, and then the PS5 plays 4 and 5. So,
Oh, so you actually got one of the backwards compatible threes that still had the
oh yeah,
two on it.
original. I actually
Yeah.
have two of them. I have one in my closet, but it went yellow life of or yellow light of death.
Oh,
So I
geez.
got to get it repaired. But yeah, I went out and bought another one, and it's a necessity in my life because I don't have a whole ton of room to put more consoles. Because I do have a PS2 kicking around here somewhere.
The fact that you still have one of those and it still works, like that's like trying to find those nowadays is difficult but expensive too. Like,
Oh yeah, this thing was about $300 to buy.
oh man.
Um, but there's a guy not too far from me, probably about like an hour away, who actually does repairs. So I just have to bite the bullet and go down and drop off the other PS5 or PS3 and get it fixed.
Okay.
The only problem is, young hot-headed electrician me decided to pop out a bunch of screws to see if I could fix it myself, and then I lost some of the screws, so I'll have to pay for some hardware. Whole console's all together, just missing screws.
You can find those on eBay, I bet you.
Oh yeah, they're just generic screws.
Yeah, I bought a bunch of those Halo 3 uh 360s. They're all red
All right.
ringed. And so I temporarily fixed them by basically reflowing the solder. So I mean, you boot them up, they work fine, but who knows? They work for an hour or work for like another year, depending on how much. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I remember the Red Ring era.
yeah, I had one that red ringed, and then they sent me another one, and then that one seems fine. But then I ended up buying the I bought the collection of um Halo Reach, Halo 4 editions too, and those are the slim versions, so they work much better. No issues right there. But
Yeah,
yeah,
my 360 is a slim. I wasn't gonna go for another Red Ringer.
the 360 Fat is what they refer to.
Is that what they call them?
I think the original was
I
called
just
the
call them.
Fat one.
I just call them the Red Ringer.
Still, yeah, everybody knows what that is, and just
Yeah, they used to always say is they solved the red ring problem by getting rid of the ring.
mm-hmm. You can't tell it's freaking out. Why? Well, there's no actual like display of what's going on, so you're like, oh, okay.
Exactly. Uh, it sucks, and this is actually on the topic of music. I bought Need for Speed Underground 2 for the original Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
Because the 360 is supposed to be backwards compatible, and this game is on the list of a few games that aren't backwards compatible.
That's
And it
dumb.
has great music.
It
And
does.
it's the like soundtrack of actual songs, so it's like one of those games you can't stream on Twitch because you'll get copyright marked, but
Mm-hmm.
just an iconic game, iconic music, iconic soundtrack. People loved it, and people keep asking for a remake, but I don't think they would do it justice anymore.
Yeah, especially yeah, because they probably won't even be able to get the actual music again. They'll probably be bringing in modern day or not even the same soundtrack. Which, like you said, I think out of the, I think there's
Six Justin Bieber tracks.
a Wow, I don't want to drive around Justin Bieber. Does not want to make me drive fast. I think
It
there's
sure
a
does. Right off the cliff.
few bands. Actually, there have been some video game soundtracks that have actually used licensed music that I've found bands from them because I've enjoyed their song. So I went
Oh
and
god,
found them and everything.
I have the Tony Hawk Pro Skater soundtrack playlist saved on Spotify. Like Goldfinger and Superman.
Mm-hmm.
I never heard of Goldfinger before I played Tony Hawk Pro Skater or one or two, whichever he's on. And now it's like one of the staples of my old man Spotify list.
You're like, yep, this came out in early 2000s. Like
Yeah.
what? No, late
Yeah,
90s.
back in 90 in the last century, we listened to music from people who were angry at the world and themselves. We called it grunge.
Mhm. We have this thing called a CD. You see, it's a physical thing you
Yeah.
put in a device, not this digital thing. And you can't. We have this device in the floor of your car, which was a CD player. If you went over a bump, the thing would skip. Like, well, there goes the soundtrack.
Oh, I remember those days.
Before everybody had CD players built in the car, they had the portable ones with the cassette deck attachment and everything.
Yeah. I had one of those. I'll admit I was one of those people, and I had to go out and buy the anti-skip CD player.
Yeah.
Didn't work. Hit a like you said, hit a little pothole there, and your whole track is.
Mm-hmm. Just like, oh.
Oh man. Other games with great soundtracks. I guess if we want to talk about that,
I
I'm having a great conversation here, but I think we've flown a little bit off topic.
A little bit. I mean, one thing I've would say is as each generation came out, I've noticed the improvement in music came along with it. Like 2018 God of War. I think the
Yes, that's a great one.
thing just they just came out with like because they had what his name Beer McCreary, just and everything like that, and like
I'm looking.
Uncharted had a really good soundtrack.
Yeah, I'm looking at a list of kind of notable soundtracks on Wikipedia here, and Red Dead Redemption was composed by somebody named Woody Jackson. And it just seems so appropriate.
That sounds like a Western name.
Yeah, it just sounds like the guy knows what he's talking about from experience. But the immersion that a good soundtrack, like if you're playing a game, uh, I think we talked about this briefly, but a good soundtrack can be not distracting and you can kind of listen to it while doing work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like this great background music. But I jumped online today and I remember hearing about this a long time ago, but the psychology of video game music and not so much with current music or any popular, I guess, intro or end of game track, but tracks like music in video games is designed to be repetitive but not distracting, and they've shown it actually improves people's cognitive abilities by listening to video game music, especially into college and university students when they're studying,
Hmm.
because it stimulates the brain without distracting the person. It's a really interesting read.
Ah, I could see that because like Final Fantasy, for example, every time you go into battle, you hear the same battle song over and over again. So you kind of get used to the battle music and everything. You're not like, oh my god, this one again. But yeah, and then how many times you've played a game and you've gone back to that area and that music kicks up. It's like this
Yeah.
song plays in this one area or this and that. So yeah, you get used to this the repetitiveness, and it for me it does not take away the mission of the game where it's just like there's some soundtracks where it's like I can just kind of like not folk. It doesn't lose my focus. I'm still focusing on the game. It doesn't deter anything. Other times there have been soundtracks that actually like emphasize it, like Doom Eternal, where I don't know if you played it, but it just goes into this like heavy metal riff where you're about to just take on some zombies, and you're just like, yeah, just get really just like this is it, heavy metal riff. I'm gonna rip and tear some zombies up, and it just fits perfectly with that and everything.
Yeah, oh man, when the music can change my mood in the game like instantaneously. I could be having like the worst time, and then the right music just changes my opinion entirely on a game. Um, I know over like the 80 some episodes we've done over on our podcast, I've commented on music a couple of times. And well, one particular problem I have with certain types of music is if it's something that you hear after you're done playing the game, I don't find that to be great music. And one of the examples is a game called 3D Battles of the World Runner. And this game was made by the people who made Final Fantasy, and it's an NES game. And it has this one track, and it has like I think a total of 6 tracks for the entire game, but it plays this one track, and it's this really brain melting track, and it just bores into your soul, and I can still hear it in my mind if I think about the game. Bad music can ruin good games. The game wasn't good, so it was a
I've
rip off of Space Harrier.
there's yeah, I've been trying to think to myself like what game had good soundtrack but the game was not fun, and then vice versa. What game was good but had terrible music? I'm trying to like nothing that can come to mind at the moment. I know there's stuff out there. I'm just like what like but yeah, I've definitely played some games where it's like, man, the music's really good in this game, but I'm just not enjoying the game itself. Like it's just not jiving
Uh,
with me. But
yeah, I've also had games where I'm really enjoying the gameplay, but the music's just pulling me out of it, and I just don't want to listen to it. I mean, the easy solution, hit mute, or if you have the ability, turn down the music and the options.
mm-hmm.
Uh, but it just shows the importance of music in video games, how it can actually change the perception of a video game
Yeah,
simply simply by hitting or missing what the game needs. Like Oblivion's a good example of a game that uses music to change or to alert the player as well. If you're running around, I don't know if you've ever played Elder Scrolls Oblivion, but if you're running around, and I think Skyrim does this as well, and you get into a fight, the music changes
mm-hmm.
and it changes to a more tense tempo, and it lets you know that something's chasing you, and you have to look at your little your guide compass guide to see where the enemy's coming from, and then you can fight the enemy. When you get rid of it, it goes back to this calm melodic music that you're exploring this world safe and sound. It's really neat how it changes how you play the game as you're playing it.
Right. And that's those examples are exactly what I think make the game that much just more immersive, and it just kind of keeps you engaged and everything in terms of like music kicks in, oh my god, I'm ready to go, let's do this. And at the same time also prepares you like, oh wait, the music just changed, that means I'm gonna have a tougher fight. Or oh, the music ended, so that means the fight's finally over. Like I know there have been times I fight something, the music kind of like changes to this to a more like subtle like peace time, and you're like, oh, all right, that's it, cool. I guess that battle's
Yeah.
over. I'm gonna move on.
Well, even then, like I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but I know it's out there where a game will start the music out quite calm as you go through a linear level, and the music will get more intense or more tension filled as you progress through the level till you get to the boss, and that's when the boss music kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
Or like Castlevania Symphony of the Night, you get to a point and you hit a check like a little invisible marker, and the music just cuts off. And then you walk in the next room and you're in a boss fight.
Yep.
And it creates such an engaging atmosphere because it gives you that something's happening right now. Kind of like finding a save point in an RPG or something after a long dungeon, and you just know you're about to get fucked up by a boss. Excuse my language.
That's fine. I swear to. Uh, I know exactly what you're talking about. They're playing Symphony of the Night. You listen to music, and then you find a save room, and it's silence. And you go in, you save. You hear the sound effect of silence, and you go back out in the room. Music kicks back up, and you're just like, all right, let's go. Like it's basically saying like, hey, while you're doing this is what's going on here. It's like nothing. Nothing's going on. Yeah, nothing. Nope.
Yeah,
And everything. So
Symphony of the Night was funny because it kind of popped me out of the moment there when they had dialogue because they would actually cut the music off because I think the dialogue was like on a different track on the soundtrack on the CD there. So it would skip to that track, do the dialogue, and then it would start the music up again when you went into the next section and reloaded the screen.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that's kind of one of the downsides of the game. Like it had really good music and everything, and a bit repetitive at times, but it was just one of those things where the music and the dialogue didn't jive because they couldn't play both of them at the same time. It just, I don't know. I I do have opinions on that game. We just did an episode on it, but I can't remember exactly what I said about the music, and I don't want to accidentally contradict myself.
I will. I now the fact that like I've gone back and played some games I haven't played in years and everything, like especially uh, can't think of much at the moment, but like I'm sure my opinion has changed to the point where it's like, ooh, this music is actually really good compared to maybe back then I was like, oh, this music's good. Now I'm like, yeah, yeah, I don't know if I like this one. It's just be interesting to see, like, curious, like how people's taste in music has changed in terms of like, or did it get better with time? You didn't like it at first, it came around a couple years, years later, replayed, and you're like, okay, I get it now, and everything. Like,
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of an example, but I can't. mm, Yeah, I can't
well,
think
it's
of
kind
anything
of
off the
hard
head.
because a lot of the soundtracks that have made it to this point from like the 80s and 90s are solidified as some of the best soundtracks in video games.
Mm-hmm.
Streets of Rage 2 has that urbany techno-ish type music that they play, and that holds up through all of time. Um, a lot of games using the low, like the 16-bit sound chips and stuff like that. Somehow we're able to use MIDI files to create these really engaging soundtracks, especially if you look at role-playing games, which, they live and die off their soundtracks, because if the music isn't good, the game tends to fall apart.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a lot of the bad music from games have been forgotten through time because nobody cares about them. Like
Yeah.
I can't think of a good game with bad music. Like it's not coming to me. I was trying to think of an example. I Googled it and just nothing's popping up.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think of a game that I enjoyed the gameplay. I thought the story was good and everything, but like music wise, I'm like, it could have been better. Um, but then at the same time, I think when that happens, I almost kind of feel like I tune out the music and just like, hey, the gameplay's fun, the story's great. I think you'll enjoy it, and just completely just like, man, like the whole thing. But then if the game's like amazing, I might be like, oh my god, the music on it is just so good. Almost like I kind of like cut it out if I'm trying to explain to someone like, is it worth my time playing? I'm like, yeah, it's fun, go for it. Compared to like,
Yeah, I've
no, you got to listen,
never
you got to play it because this soundtrack just like enhances it completely.
unless the soundtrack's the focal point of the game, like Hi-Fi Rush. I never really think about commenting on the soundtrack to somebody. I never like go play Final Fantasy 6 or 7 because the soundtrack is great. No, it's not the selling point of the game, but it's definitely something you notice when you're playing it. It's kind of this weird thing. I always say the best soundtracks are ones that you don't think about,
Mm-hmm.
and the best tracks are songs that don't distract you from the game. Like, and Elder Scrolls does this really well with their ambient music in the background. Just like I said, Oblivion, you have a calm open world exploration song, and then enemy shows up, and it switches enough to trigger that something's happening. You know, part of your brain, and then
Mm-hmm.
to fight a boss or fight an enemy. Sorry. But and then again, I'm not an expert on music development, and I can barely carry a tune. So who am I to say anything about music?
I'm not either. I just, yeah, I'm like, this is good stuff here, and kind of, yeah, I don't want to
It-
sit there and
now
bash on somebody
there,
either.
yeah, there are games like Near Automata. I tried the demo for that. Not my style of music, but I'm not going to take it away from the game because it fit really well with the theme of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I'll never poo-poo on a game just because. I don't like it. I'll try to find some redeeming value to it, especially if the game is popular amongst other people. It's like obviously the problem is me, it's not the game. I'm not going to sit there and be like, "Oh, this game is terrible because, the music was awful and I couldn't get to, the first boss and I died like instantly," and just basically describing Xenoblade Chronicles right now, but yeah, the game is good. Like if once you get past the hump, even Castlevania Symphony of the Night, I was not having a good time with because I kept dying. But I was getting sick of the same music because I was always in the same areas. But at the same time, I saw the value in the game because it was done better than most Castlevanias I played before. It can't shit on again. I swear way too much. You can't poo poo on something because you don't like it.
I get what you're saying, and I think there's some yeah, there have been games where like the music replays so much that I just kind of tune it out or just kind of like, oh, here's the song again. But um like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, they use a lot of the same songs for both games. So like you go to like Kakariko Village or you go to this area, a lot of the music's the same and it just replays itself. And I'm like, what? I understand, like it fits that mood and stuff like that. So and then may put that song on the background like in YouTube where it's like 6 hours of calming Zelda music and it's like playing those kind of songs and everything. And I'm like, oh yeah, there I am in Kakariko Village, just hanging out and everything. And sometimes it's like, yeah, it's hey, it enjoys the part of it, or I'm just like, it's fine. Or there have been some songs I've gotten sick of where I'm just like, okay, this song's getting kind of annoying. I'd hurry through this part of the game, or just like, but I'm not gonna, yeah, say the game's garbage because it's just that one area. It's just
Yeah.
like you said, my personal opinion. And so,
There's no worse song in video games than the boss you're stuck on,
yeah,
especially one with a dialogue tree of like 5 minutes before you get to the actual fighting that's unskippable.
mm-hmm,
And you got that music and you die and you come back and you're like, shut up, shut up, shut up.
yeah.
Funny. I always tell my kid to walk away from a game he gets angry at, and I don't even follow my own advice.
Oh, rage quit.
Oh, yeah. Well, he won't even rage quit. He'll get angry and start yelling. So I kick him off his console or whatever. And then 2 minutes later, I'm up in my office. I'm doing the same thing. And he comes up like, maybe you should take a break with this snarky little attitude. And I'm like, go away. You're grounded.
Mm-hmm. Give me a second, Brian. I gotta go take care of something.
Oh, gotta go show the inchworm the pool. And he's, yeah.
Okay.
Well, while you were gone, I was looking at some songs. Found something that's like good games with bad songs. I have an example now. It's Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance. God, it's just like somebody pushed every button on the chip tune machine, and it sounds awful.
Oh, I got one for you. I don't know if you ever heard about this, but Resident Evil for the PlayStation. Did you ever hear about the uh well, I don't think it was the director's cut, but it was like the greatest hits. Did you ever hear about this whole like controversy with the original like sound creator for Resident Evil was like actually like a fake?
No.
Oh yeah, so the person that they hired to do the soundtrack for Resident Evil was supposed to be this like amazing Japanese music. Um, Maybe he was supposed to be like the Hans Zimmer of Japan at the time, and he was supposed to be, I think, blind, and so that made it more just like, oh, amazing. Well, apparently he wasn't that great, and he was kind of like a ghostwriter when it came to songs. So he used someone else to actually create the music for him. He just used the music for himself, and so he put that on the soundtrack for Resident Evil. And when they found out about that, they're like, "We can't use this, so give us what you did." So he created music, gave it to them, and people are just like, "It's terrible." Like they say the Resident Evil basement's like clown farts and clown shoes. It's if you Google Resident Evil, Resident Evil Greatest Hits soundtrack, you'll see like issues about like people are like, "Yep, this controversy, this whole scandal of everything, and how people actually have made videos about how bad the soundtrack is for the greatest hits, which because they went back and decided to add the original one, and it just was just terrible or something."
Yeah, I popped onto Google quickly and I started reading. I think I'm going to save this story. Yeah, Clowns Farting, the wild story behind Resident Evil's worst soundtrack. It's the
There it
name of
is.
the
Yep, that's
article.
it.
Yeah,
And if you
I'm
listen
going to
to
save
the
that one
if you
to
listen to
read.
it, you're just like, what the fuck is this? Like, and nothing like you think Resident Evil was supposed to be like scary, tense, like oh my god, like, and it's just nothing to do to build the tension to the point where it's like I think they finally fixed that in later games where it's like the music's building up, it's scary, it's like okay something's gonna jump out at me, I gotta be prepared, and when it happens you're like oh my god, but that soundtrack's like what the hell am I listening to? Like what is this? It's just like yeah.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah,
said you have a few other ones to share.
oh, no, no, not really. No, it was just that Castlevania one. It was just basically, I'm not a Castlevania guy, so I was looking up the list of worst ones while you stepped away there for a minute. And they had YouTube videos with the music, so I kind of clicked on play just to catch a little snippet of them. And that one I had to turn off immediately. It was just so jarring. And it's a Game Boy Advance game, so
Mm.
take that type of music and amplify it to the worst way you could. Like it was just so awful. It's like I want every note on the friggin' planet shoved together, but not in any order and randomized. God,
It's like, well,
no,
do I judge it based on the technology at the time of how it could produce the music? No, no. I'm
no,
gonna,
because other people did it better, right?
it's
That
like
that's the
that.
problem too, is, you can't sit there and say the Super Nintendo wasn't able to have these CD quality soundtracks when people have done soundtracks that have been tested by time and have succeeded to stay atop. Like, Chrono Trigger is considered one of the best soundtracks in video games. This game was released in 1995, and it has topped many, many lists up until this year, and it will continue to do so. So you can't uh, say that the hardware wasn't there yet because obviously it was. And considering Konami is one of those uh, companies I listed at the beginning of having really great music, it was kind of off-putting to see that they kind of shit the bed on that one.
I would say, Silent Hill. They did a good job on making that game eerie and just
The music makes
terrifying.
the immersion. Yeah.
Just like I mean, I know Capcom did a good job with Resident Evil, but like Silent Hill, it's like I'm not saying they're like apples and oranges, but it's just like man, like just the psychological like mind fuck that's going on at the time. You're just like yeah, different. It's
Yeah,
just
and
different.
it's another game that uses the absence of music as a way to create tension. And that's part of a good soundtrack is knowing when, you want music and when you don't want music.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in the horror genre, the lack of music, the lack of sound really changes like what the tension you're feeling in your body because it's like why is this quiet all of a sudden?
Right. Oh yeah, no. And if you have headphones on, you're like, the music stops, all I hear is just my footsteps, and then you're walking along, and suddenly you hear like a door slam. You're like, that wasn't me, like, or like you start hearing other stuff like voices or other stuff. You're like, oh shit, something's gonna happen, and I'm about probably gonna scream like a girl, and yeah, it's just
Well, and on top of that, like you say, you don't have headphones on. You're listening in like a surround sound system, as I used to do in the day, and you're sitting in the house by yourself, and it's a horror game, so you turn the lights off there, and the music stops, and you only have the sound effects, and like your dog's tail starts wagging while it sleeps and banging on the floor, and all of a sudden you're like your tension rises because now the ambient sound of your house is added to the lack of music of this game. Yes, that did actually happen.
like so focused in the game, and suddenly it's music around or sound effects around you. You're like, oh my
Well,
god, what is going on? Like, oh Jesus.
have you ever heard the term "it's so quiet it's deafening"?
I have heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of that. It's just it's so quiet that you expect no sound, and then when something makes sound that it surprises you. It just that was kind of that situation because I wasn't really thinking about anything outside of the game, and yeah, when the dog's tail hit the floor there, I jumped a little bit. But have you ever played Katamari Damacy?
I have not.
That I played the second game, the remake of the second game, not too long ago, and the soundtrack in that game is so quirky that you can't hate it. Um, I'd say it's repetitive, but I really can't think of how it repeats itself because it just sounds like some guy beatboxing almost, like except for like not oopcha oopcha or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He's just doing vocals, but it's quirky, it's fun, and you're playing this game where you're rolling around a ball or a quote unquote katamari in order to pick up stuff off the floor, and it God, it always makes me smile when I start that game just because of the way the music sounds. And I always look forward to that first moment where the music starts playing.
That's one of those games I do have on my list because it came out on the PS3, right? And no, wait, PS2,
PS2,
and then
and
they had a
then X.
PS3, and then they come out with the PS4 version too, or
No, it moved to Xbox.
oh, it did okay. But
Yeah, you
yeah,
could actually get it on Game Pass now.
hmm, might have to check that out because yeah, I do have Game Pass.
That's where I got it, anyways. I don't know. I don't know if how much longer you want to go on this, but I'm kind of running out of really games to talk about with the music. Like we've talked about the atmosphere it's created. We talked about the immersion. I do you have anything else that we should talk about?
Uh, I would just before you probably sign off, just like Spitfire and games that come to mind that you say are your opinion are great soundtracks.
Oh, for me, great soundtracks always tend to come from role playing games. But not exclusively to role playing games. Just my favorite soundtracks: Final Fantasy 4, 6, Chrono Trigger. Excuse me, Final Fantasy 7 has a great soundtrack. The opening to Final Fantasy 8 and Final Fantasy 10 are amazing. Final Fantasy 9 is a great soundtrack. Um, During that era of PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2, Square did a lot of I call them side project RPGs because they're not ones that never really made big franchises,
Mm-hmm.
but they also have these really great soundtracks in them. Xenogears being one example. Uh, Radiata Stories is a PlayStation 2 game that had Nobuo Uematsu do the soundtrack, and yeah, it's just really upbeat soundtrack. It's really well done. Fits the tone of the game super well. But mostly the soundtracks I like are when I realize I'm listening to the music and it's enhancing how I feel about the game. Modern day examples. What would be the last game I played? Oh, have you ever played a little indie game on the PlayStation called Journey?
I have, yes.
Yeah, that game is all about its music because there's no chat, there's no dialogue or anything in that game. You live by the music and the tones that the character makes, and the music is designed in such a way that it flows with the game and the different parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'd have to pick that as probably one of my favorite soundtracks. BioShock, BioShock Infinite both have great soundtracks. Very fitting to what the era of the game is trying to portray. Undertale, oddly enough, has a good soundtrack, even though that game I've read was a absolute travesty of a development. Apparently, the guy didn't know how to program and just figured it out as he went along. And video game programmers nowadays look at it and say it's like you can't replicate this because it is utter nonsense.
What not to do
Uh,
in game development.
Pretty much, but this is the guy who didn't know anything about game development and made a game that made him millions, right? Um, Cuphead. Cuphead is another great example of a video game that uses its music to really set its tone and the world building.
Mm-hmm.
Doom does that. Doom, you're going to hell, and if you go to hell, you're going to heavy metal. So Doom does that really well. A lot of indie games nowadays are coming out with great soundtracks. I mentioned The Messenger and Sea of Stars.
Mm-hmm.
Very upbeat music, really good to keep you going through the game. Celeste sets the tone of the entire world through its music. And of course, you got the big open world games like Elder Scrolls and Red Dead Redemption that, well, their music is meant to entertain, satisfy, and give you a sense of exploration and openness and wonder. And all do it really well. So those would be my examples.
Wow, it's definitely a very impressive list. For me, I know I meant Halo for me is one of the big ones. Um, Not only being a Halo fan, but I just think the music in the game, where certain areas it just picks up, it just enhances the gameplay. Especially at the very end, the Warthog rung, where you're hearing the original Halo thing going. You're just like, yeah, let's do this. Uh, Metal Gear Solid 2. Uh, I think Harry Gregson Williams, I think his name is, did a wonderful job of making it kind of like an espionage um, kind of soundtrack with it and everything. Crazy Taxi were fun because I thought the Offspring songs they picked for it were just great. And then Final Fantasy, of course, just loved Nobuo Uematsu. I think he's just an amazing composer. Like, I remember him saying something about when they did the remakes of Final Fantasy VII, him having to go back to his original track and trying to update him. I know he said it was difficult because he didn't want to change the song, but at the same time he also wanted to bring something new to it. So he's like that was kind of a challenge he had to face with it, and I think he did a good job of updating the soundtrack to it. Uh, was there one other game that popped in? Oh, dang it! I just had it in my head. I just completely blanked on it.
I hate when that happens.
It was almost to the point where it's like, um, it enhanced the soundtrack wasn't terrible. No, not the soundtrack was not terrible. It was just the fact that the music actually enhanced the game. Not like I enjoyed the soundtrack, but I know the music actually just definitely built the make the game that much better. Um, I would
What's
say
a
Resident Evil. That yeah.
Resident Evil? Yeah.
I would say I'm not listening to the soundtrack just for fun because that'll probably scare me half the time, but just the ambience of what it does and just the whole it's silence, you're down a corridor, it changes just the whole like okay, something scary seems like it's happening, or it's silent, or it's like, you know, gotta be careful. Yeah, like that. I think they did a great job with that, kind of building the tension, the scare factor with that.
Yeah, and that's how music should be used. I like if you had I don't know, like a 90s pop band track playing while you're playing Resident Evil, well, you wouldn't be scared. You know, you'd be sitting there jamming along with the Backstreet Boys or something.
Yeah.
But no, it's you don't need a soundtrack that you jump onto Spotify or YouTube and you listen to the entire soundtrack. You need something that drags you into that game and audibly, puts you into the moment. Oh, I do have one final point. It's actually something neat I found, and like I said, I'm doing a video game course right now, and we were talking about accessibility. And one of the features, I believe it's of Last of Us, the Part 1 remake on PS5. One of the accessibility features is to use the haptics on the PlayStation 5 controller for deaf people when they're reading subtitles to get the feel of what the inflection is during the speaking. I don't know how it works. I never tried it, but the whole idea is using the controller haptics there, the way it vibrates,
Mm-hmm.
to kind of set the mood of the speech because they can't hear the inflections, they can't hear the music, so they can't really in encase themselves in the, I guess, background of it all. So
Right.
it was kind of really neat way to find a workaround, I guess.
Oh yeah, to include them into the Last of Us community in terms of like, here's a way to experience what we hear, what we can hear, in terms of something that you'd be able to, understand of why the music emotionally enhances the game and stuff like that. Where yeah, interesting. I did not know that. That's neat.
Oh yeah, the accessibility world in video games is a huge, huge market right now.
It's definitely improved in the last couple years and
Oh
everything.
yeah.
And they're not just video games aren't just for like a specific audience. Now they're including everybody who wants to play game. Like there's a way for you to play the game and everything, and so which is great. They're reaching out to broader audience and reaching out to people that want to experience like the games that we do and everything. And I think that's really good that they're doing that and putting in the effort and money into it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, yeah, we hit the hour and a half mark, Brian. I think we did a good chat. So, where can people find you? So,
Yeah, like I said, I'm one third of the Retrotopia team. We talk about, well, retro video games. We have multiple shows. We have some called Retro Bites where we just kind of take a couple of discussion topics and just have a good chat amongst the three of us there. And other than that, we're doing video game reviews, or I guess retrospective reviews, and having a good time. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple, Google. I don't. I guess Google doesn't exist anymore. YouTube, we're on there, so you can find us all over the place. Yeah, check us out.
oh yeah, wonderful. Yeah. So, as for me, you guys all know I'm on Twitch, YouTube, Spotify, podcast. So, um, I'd like to thank you, Brian, for the time and having a discussion with me. It was fun. It was definitely good to hear your opinion on stuff. Like, I
Oh,
enjoy
I
it.
always love hearing other people's opinions. It opens up your mind.
It does, and no, it was good. It's fun talking to another video game enthusiast about just video games, and appreciate your effort into doing a beer review with me. Oh, before we sign off, your beer. What do you think? Like, yay or nay? Would it be something you buy again? Would it be something you
Oh,
recommend? Or
definitely
what?
something I buy again. It was very very subtle. Like like I said, not leaving an aftertaste. I just finished the glass here moments ago. Um, yeah, it's definitely good flavors. Hit really well, not too strong. Even though it's a hazy, it wasn't too thick. I find sometimes unfiltered hazies can almost have the consistency of a milkshake. This wasn't too bad, nice and light. Definitely would buy it again.
I agree. For mine, I think it's a winner. I enjoyed it. I think it'd be something I definitely would pick up again and everything. If I do see it on tap, I would definitely try it. I know beer definitely tastes a lot fresher and better when it's straight from the tap than it is in the can, but it is what it is. So, but well, yeah. Thanks again, Brian, for tuning in to or joining me as a special guest and just talking about video game soundtracks. So,
No, I had fun. Thank you for having me.
yeah, I think this might be a conversation where it's like you can bring up again down the road where it's like let's revisit this because all the games that come out you're just like oh my god, like has anything changed, has anything improved, like but still. So but yeah, thanks again everybody for tuning in. We'll catch you guys in the next stream. Later.
Bye.